We're now going to talk about some rising sophomores. Cooper Patagna staying here on set, and Smoke Dixon is joining us here in just a little bit. But essentially, I want to lay out what this segment is. We're going to talk about some players within college football who maybe as freshmen weren't huge standouts, but again, what we do with the rankings process and the scouting process is we try to predict the future. So we're going to predict who some of the prospects are, rising sophomores, and we're going to start with a viewer question just to get things rolling here on the show, because this one actually pertains to what we're going to talk about. Feels like 98 again wants to know which second-year quarterback has the most impact this season. Let's start with Smoke Dixon, who just joined us here on set. Smoke, who's it going to be?
I've been known to be a Buckeye hater, but I'm going to go ahead and say Julian Sayin. Right. Really, really simple. It's markedly ready for the success that he's going to have. They had the same situation with Will Howard last year, and what did they do? They went out, made sure the offensive line is right. They did that this year. They tapped into the portal, got my man down there from Rice, Ethan Onienwa. Got it right, Coop. Right? And they went out and also got Philip Daniels from Minnesota to make sure that they protect him. They also dipped back into the portal and got C.J. Donaldson from West Virginia. 1-2 combination with Peoples. Going to give you that inside-outside punch that they had last year with Judkins and Henderson. Now, Coop, I know you want me to talk about our guy, and I am. The best football player outside the quarterback position this year, Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate, when you got those guys on the outside. And we know that he got a new offensive coordinator, but it's the same voice in the building in terms of Billy Felsener. Right? He was an analyst last year, and I know that on paper, Chip was a quarterback coach, but we all know when this is analyst, we know that the young guy is the one that's coaching. He now got promoted as quarterback coach. So you have the same voice, different offensive coordinator, but Brian Hartline's been there. So you're going to have the same terminology, and they understand that this kid needs time, and they know how to get the right players on the field and give them time in order to be an impact player, set up for success.
A lot of options here. You could go a lot of different routes. DJ Lagway certainly being another guy that you would think of. But on the case of Julian Sayin, the water is warm, right? Smoke and I kind of talked about it earlier. You think about his skill set coming out of Carlsbad in San Diego. This is a high-level game manager. And as Hudson said earlier in the show, nothing wrong with that, especially when you're surrounded with the type of talent that he has on the perimeter. Think about a generational talent like Jeremiah Smith at the receiver position. You surround him with Carnell Tate. You think about Brandon Ennis as a number 3. They bring in Max Clare from Purdue. I think what you said, Smoke, was really interesting about the fact that you go back, Julian Sayin, he's only been in college football for 2 years, but he transferred from Alabama. He played there, enrolled early, transfers to Ohio State. Chip Kelly's gone off to the NFL, and now he's got his 3rd offensive coordinator in 2 years. So has he gotten to benefit from that type of development that a redshirt year typically gives a young signal caller? You said it, offensive line, what they have there, they're going to have to mix and match. They're losing some guys, 3 starters on the OL, but they're going to have the run game, and they're going to have plenty of talent. I think there are going to be some bumps along the way, but this kid is certainly well capable of leading the Buckeyes to where they want to go.
Fantastic question from one of our viewers to get this segment rolling. Let's keep talking about some sophomores. Our guys have picked out some rising sophomores. And Cooper, we'll start with you with LSU offensive tackle Weston Davis. This is a guy that was the 13th ranked offensive tackle for us in the 2024 class. So I know you saw a lot from him early on. What are we going to see from him as a sophomore?
Didn't see a lot last year either. Only had 20 snaps, right? So we're kind of going out on a limb here a little bit. But you look at LSU, this is more of a situational thing. Right, you lose Will Campbell, going to be a top 10 pick in the draft. You lose Emory Jones, probably going to be a top 50 pick in the draft, right? So you have to replace your tackles. They did a really good job being very aggressive in the transfer portal. They go out, they get Josh Thompson from Northwestern, they get Braylon Moore at the center position. That's going to allow DJ Chester to really push out to another guard spot. But what do they do at the tackle position? They like Weston Davis right now. He's slotted in to be the starting right tackle opposite of Tyree Adams. So this is going to be a guy that's going to have to play developmental, great frame at 6'6" plus, has a basketball background. That year in the strength conditioning program at LSU is going to be really, really big for him. And another guy that I think it's going to be baptism by fire, Brad Davis, one of the best offensive line coaches in the country. If there's a guy out there that I think can compete, add some competitive depth at the tackle spot during the spring portal, I would expect LSU to try to go identify and go get that guy. But in the meantime, it's all up to Weston Davis.
Elsewhere in the SEC, Smoke, you're excited about Florida linebacker Myles Graham and what he could be capable of as a sophomore. What should we expect?
Man, love him. This is Ernest Graham's son, like old school. And when we talk about old school, we talk about old school linebacker. Now, what you got? You got a downhill thumper, guy that come downhill, not the guy that runs around and escape all blocks. He takes blocks on, knock it back. And when he makes tackles, you can feel it, not back power. Cooper, if I tell you in the next couple of seasons, Florida might have the best trio of linebackers with Myles Graham, Jaden Robinson, and Pup Howard. Just 3 old school guys that know how to play the game the proper way, the right way. And that's why Florida had some success on defense last year.